Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, right at 8 p.m. on the East Coast. And I'm sorry I'm a little bit late today. I was actually doing something else, working for somebody else. I was trying to help them out with some phone call work and did a bunch of that. And now I'm here with you. So awesome. Glad. I wanted to talk about, I wasn't sure what I wanted to talk about. I wasn't. I was thinking maybe I would shift or adjust, but man, people are asking me to do shows where I explain like how things work and how we can fix them and things like that. And I said, okay, that makes sense. So I thought about what's happening today and the big talk about today, a couple of big talks. But one of them was the idea of getting rid of the Department of Education. And I know that is scary. I do. I totally get the concept. That's scary. Oh my God, if we get rid of the Department of Education, it's going to hurt all these people, blah, blah. I get that completely. I wanted to talk about it in detail, though. What is the real issue here? Why would they even consider that? Just on its, ostensibly, you go, why would you do something like that, Larry? Why do you hate the children, right? Of course. The question is it working? Can it work? Is there something better? Or is it just an emotional piece? Or is it just a grift? Spoiler, it's both. Of course it is, right? But you might say, Larry, no. You're just a crazy libertarian and you hate government. True on both counts. But if you know me at all, I never, ever do I talk about just burn it down. I never advocate for that. I always say people need help. We have to make sure we find ways of helping people. Always. I never just burn stuff down. Never. This case, I may be changing my mind on this one. Why? Okay. Why? I'm going to show you a couple of things that you may or may not enjoy. I'm not sure, but I think you will because I'm going to cover it because people are concerned about this, and I get it. But this is from a couple of months ago, and this is from a local news station. I'm going to talk about what this actually means and how this actually works.
The education world this week when he announced his plan to do away with the Department of Education. Now, if he were to get his wish, what would that look like here in Maryland? WMER2 News' Elizabeth Worthington brought that question to several local experts. She joins us now with what they're concerned about and what worries they want to squash.
Local experts.
Elizabeth?
Yeah, Kelly, so this decision would not just be up to Trump. Eliminating the Department of Education would require Congress to repeal the law that created it all the way back in the 70s. If that does happen, experts we talked to want to reassure teachers and families that some of the major laws that the Department of Education is in charge of wouldn't actually go anywhere. These were some of the first questions brought up after.
Now, that's the issue. People are going to say, wait a minute, Department of Education goes away, we won't have education. Of course you would. Of course you would. You'd still have states with education. Of course you would. And I want you to remember something. Think about this for 1 second, if you would. Think about this for a second. Every single president that we've had, all 40 some odd of them, he's 47, but he's also 45th. So all 40 something presidents that we had, every one of them was educated without Department of Education. Every one of them. Yes. Department of Education started 1979, 80 in that area when it began. It was made in the 70s, but it didn't really start going until the 80s when it started actually doing something, right? Which that was nothing but bad. So that's when it started doing something, right? It was in the 80s. Somehow every single president we've had has been educated without a Department of Education. Almost every one of our Congress people, probably all of our senators, have been educated without the Department of Education. Somehow we went to the moon without the Department of Education, right? We found the internet without the Department of Education. It didn't exist. It was not a thing. Somehow we figured it all out. And now we act like we got to have it forever. It's only 45 years old. That's it. Our country is over 200 years more older than that. Yes. It's only 45 years old. And the world's going to end? Okay. I don't think it will. I don't think it will. Somehow we'll be able to deal with that. Somehow we were. But let me keep going down to give you some ideas on what we're talking about here and how the world's not going to end if we actually do this. It is not going to actually end.
After President-elect Donald Trump made his desires clear to get Washington's influence out of schools and hand control over to the states. What happens to special education funding?
Yes.
Title I funding for low-income families? What about enforcing civil rights in school?
Yes. Now, I would ask you that. Do you think all of a sudden now, if it went away, that there'd be no special ed funding? It's a serious question. Do you think we wouldn't care about poor kids anymore? Is that what you think? Do you think civil rights enforcement would all of a sudden change and end? Now, if you go, yeah, it would, you're not getting it. Because not just that, the federal government doesn't even do a good job of this, right? And I use New York all the time as an example because New York spends the most time, the most money, and gets the most. New York State gets over $6 billion from the federal government every year. Most of it for special ed. Of course it does. Of course it does. Now you might say, well, that sounds great, Larry. See, the federal government's helping out. No. Somehow in New York City, I'm using New York City as an example. New York City has about 900,000 students, give or take. Somehow, over 200, almost 250,000 of them are somehow labeled special needs. You're telling me 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 students in New York City is special needs? Stop. 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 That's just not true. So wait a minute, but then why would they say that? Because when they say they're special needs, New York City gets more cash. Yes, RFK Jr. said it, and I hate it, but he was right. He said it. He said there's nothing more profitable to the federal government than a sick kid. Nothing more profitable than a sick kid. Now you might go, Larry, my kid's special needs make him sick. You might not think that, and you have a right to think any way you want. Your kid, you do as you see fit, whatever. The federal government says your kid's sick because they got to give him extra money. And New York City goes, great, let's make them all sick, so we can give them all money. So we literally turned special needs into an industrial complex. New York at it again. We made a migrant industrial complex, a homeless industrial complex. Now we've made a special needs industrial complex. Yes. You cannot tell me 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 kids in New York City is special needs. Stop that. You know that's not true. But we've labeled them all. If you're making this up, do your own homework. It's everywhere. You can just Google it. You'll find it. If you think I'm making this up. That's all extra cash. So kids are going to get somewhere. New York City gets almost like $250 million just for the special needs kids. Yes, it's extra cash. It's all about the dollars. I wish it wasn't true, but it is. I wish it was. Poorer kids. All right. Here's what I want the poorer kids. How does the federal government decide? How does the federal government decide how much money it will give to a school? Well, there's a thing called what is it called? Hold on, I got to find it. Hold on, let me actually look at this. This is a thing that they have. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, yes. It is a special formula, a student-based formula is what I use. Sorry, I just looked for it, just found it. All right, and that formula, of course, matters things like how many kids go to college. Oh, yeah. Pushing kids into college so they don't go to trades. Yep, how you get cash. Not just that, are they special needs? You get more money if you have more special needs kids. Yeah, so of course you tell them. And if the kids are poorer, well, yeah, so you get more money. So if your kids stay poor, if your kids stay special needs, you get more money. Why would you help your kids? Why would you get them out of that title? You wouldn't. You lose cash. Yes, you lose cash. Of course. So whatever's happening with your kid, it's in your best interest as a school district to label them special needs. Whether they are or not does not matter. Who cares? Label them, more cash. More cash, more cash. It's not just going to go away. It's here.
All things the Department of Education oversees right now.
I think that there's a lot of fear-mongering going on about what it would mean. In the short term, if the Department of Ed is dismantled, all of that funding would probably just go somewhere else and be administered somewhere else in the federal government.
Tim,
probably, I don't know, some war somewhere. We'll probably take the money and bomb somebody with it is my assumption. But
Villegas with the Maryland Coalition for Inclusive Education is
there's a Maryland Coalition for Inclusive Education.
primarily concerned with making sure students with special needs continue to be protected under IDEA, or the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act.
Now, she's worried about that protection. I get it. That makes sense. If you have a kid with special needs, you'd be concerned. Makes total sense. So you might say, well, that's great because it's working so well. It's not. Remember how I told you about 200,000 kids in New York City are labeled now as special needs? Guess how many parents sue New York City, New York State because they don't get what they're supposed to get because it's broken and bad. By the way, overseen by the federal government. About 20,000 a year. Yes, during about a year, about 20,000 parents sue on behalf of their kids because they're not getting what they're supposed to get. It doesn't work. This doesn't work. They're suing. Are they suing the federal government? No. They sue the city or the state. Yes. And are they happy? No, they aren't happy. Parents are not happy. One more time. New York City spends the most of all states when it comes to education. No state spends more per kid. We drop $36,000 per kid per year in New York State. And the parents are not happy. They're suing the state and suing the city every single year. And we drop $36,000 per. It's not funding. It's not funding. They keep saying that. It's not. You know how much the average private school in New York State costs? The average private school, $21,000 a year. Now, that's skewed heavily by some really big, heavy hitter New York City schools for like the wealthiest of the wealthy. Some of those wealthy, those schools, they're 60 grand a year, 50 grand a year. Yeah, some of them are that big, right? So that's skewed. But still, the average is still 21,000. We spend 36. We're spending $15,000 more than private schools. And some of those private schools include specialized schools for kids with special needs. There are private schools just for those types of kids with special issues, whatever the case may be. Include those. Still, we spend $15,000 more. 20% of all the money that we spend in education goes to pensions, to people who aren't even here in New York City. And 40% of those aren't even here in New York City, in New York State. They're someplace else. Someplace else. So that means 10% of that, give or take, of the money that we spend on education in New York State goes to somebody retired in another state, probably Florida. Look at that. So if we're going to drop, New York State drops over $35 billion per year on this. So we're dropping tons of money on people who aren't even here in the state. Let me grab a couple of super chats if I could. Peace Logic says, let's talk about love. I will. I got the answers, Peace. I'm going to tell you how we fix this. This is repairable. It absolutely is repairable. I'm just telling you that people are like, oh my God, if we get rid of the DOE, it's not working in any way, shape, or form. The federal DOE is not only not working, it is actively harming our children. More money is not the answer. Not the answer. And I'm showing this with New York State. New York State spends those. By the way, with the exception of Luxembourg, Luxembourg's an exception. So Luxembourg, the United States spends the most in education in the entire world. The most, number one. Number two, I don't count Luxembourg. There's like 9 people. Luxembourg is basically a bank surrounded by a country. So not counting Luxembourg, because I don't count them. Sorry if you're from Luxembourg. I'm not counting you. America spends the most. And remember Trump was saying how we rank like 40th? He was exaggerating. But we rank like 20-something. The 34th, I think, out of 81. We rank 34th out of 81. 34th out of 81, we spend the most money. Yes. Duke of Facts, I think we paid $5. I read something that said before the DOE, we were number 1 in it, and now we're like 40-something. Good riddance as far as I'm concerned. That's actually not accurate. That's Trump doing his exaggeration as well. It's not true. We couldn't be number 1 before DOE. They didn't really rank much then, right? It's tough to rank when there's nothing to rank. They weren't really ranking stuff, right? So we were seen as the best. And here's the other piece. There's a way to do this. There's a difference between K through 12 and college, right? When it comes to college, America has been doing very well for many years. That's true. Our K through 12 has been garbage for many years. The problem is when they say education, they mix in college. And when you mix in college, we do really well. When you just do K through 12, holy crap, do we suck. That's the difference. That's the difference. You might say, Larry, how can you say we suck? Okay, hold on. I'm going to show you something. Think we should? Okay, hold on. This right here this shows, again, remember, New York State spends the most. Number one. This is literacy rates within the country. What are red ones? Oh, those red ones, as you see, New York State. Literally, the worst is California. Their literacy is worse than ours. But then it's New York State. 77% literacy rate in New York State. It's not the lowest. It isn't. It's 49th. Yeah. Most recently, I saw we were 38th. This is from a couple years back. So we're like 40th to 49th, depending on how you decide literacy. Our graduation rate is like 20 something. We don't even graduate. And if we graduate, we can't read. So it doesn't even matter. If you remember, again, literally, my mayor 2 years ago said, we're going to start teaching our kids to read. I'm not making that up. He said those words proudly. See? What you've been doing for all these years. Clearly not teaching them how to read. The data's in. I want to repeat this one more time so we're clear. New York State spends the most money per student in the entire country. America, not including Luxembourg, spends the most of any country on the planet, and we can't read. Why do I care about the DOE? It is clearly and obviously failing. It is clearly and obviously failing. Not even close. It is failing. It is harming children. It is harming parents because it makes people believe that we're doing something good. And we feel what happens is this. Our system now, and you see it throughout the country, but heavily in New York. This is a New York thing for sure, but it's around the country. If you can afford tutors, or you can afford private school, or you're fortunate enough to have someone who can be at home to act as a tutor or as a helper, you can do very well in school. You can do very well in school. If you don't have that, your kid will suffer. They will struggle. That's how it works. I wish that wasn't true. It is. That's how it works. So if you're one of the privileged people who sends your kid to a private school or as tutors, you go, well, we got to give the education to the kids. No, this goes back to the same idea. This is elites who aren't in your schools telling you, well, just have this. It's the at least mindset for the poors. Larry, how can that be true? That's not true. Yes, it's true. Every one of those people on MSNBC or CNN who tells you how important Department of Education is, all of their kids go to private school and or have tutors. Let me repeat that. All of their children either go to private schools or have tutors. All of them. I know. My kids have tutors. I live in New York City. That's how my daughter graduated in 2 years of college. She had tutors. Yes, we paid for them. That's the way you make it work. Phil says, in Rochester, 30% of teachers send their kids to private schools. Of course. Rochester has some of the worst school districts in the entire country. And they spend tons of money in Rochester. Remember, $36,000 per kid. And there are some districts in Rochester that if you are a black male, the odds of you graduating high school, less than 20%. And repeat that for those of you in the back who might have been doing something else. Certain parts of Rochester, if you are a black male, the odds of you graduating high school, less than 20%. And you think I want a DOE? Dave says, New York spends over 30,000. 36,000, my friend, to be clear. 36,000. Yes, that's a problem. That is a problem, and it doesn't get better. And Kathy Hochul has been raising the amount of money we've been doing. Since she's been in, we've raised our budget by $6 billion. And we still suck. So it doesn't all of a sudden get better. So I do want to go back to that piece if I could. So that people are going to get upset. And again, I'm going to give you an answer because I always give you an answer. I'm just saying you can see that the current situation is not working. And that at least mindset is not made for the wealthy. It's made for everybody else.
Dr. Jade Wexler from the University of Maryland explains how IDEA, Title I, and other fundamental education laws are independent of the department.
That's my point. You will still have people, people are still going to want to have help for their kids. But here's the issue. Here's a big difference. If the federal money isn't coming into the school has no incentive to label your kids special needs. No incentive. I don't want them to label your kids special needs unless your kid's actual special needs. There is no way 1 in 4 kids in New York City schools are special needs, but they're labeled that. Why? Extra cash. Once that goes away, your kid will get whatever they're supposed to get. And if you don't like it, guess what? Locally, you'll have some control.
Separate laws that were created by Congress that are not eliminated, even if the Department of Education is eliminated, as long as Congress continues to appropriate money for these different programs.
And those laws actually predate the Department of Education, which was established in 1979.
1979. So it actually started doing something in the 80s. Every single president we've had graduated before 1981. Every one of them graduated before 1981. All of them went to school and were educated without a Department of Education. Every one of them. Yes.
Before that, there was the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, or HEW. Dr. Philip Burke used to work there and saw how education was handled by the federal government back then.
And frankly, it got very little attention. The E in HEW was a very tiny E.
And that's my point, right? Somehow people were getting educated. Let me keep going out. One more I want to show you that I think is kind of interesting. I think you may enjoy that one too. If I can grab that one. Hold on, where was that one? I did have one more. All right. I think that was the one I wanted to grab. If I can find it, it is. Maybe I can't. All right, I won't show you that one. Anyway, what it was? Oh, hold on. P says, "What the app? Thank you for $2. 20% graduation. That's abusive." Correct. And we've done nothing to change it. Yes. Dave says, average teacher salary in New York, $91,000. Yes, that's true. Look, I'm not mad at teachers for making cash. I'm not. For the most teachers in New York State, to be very full with you, it's not their fault. The problem is we have a very overloaded system, and a system which is across most areas is administrators. Yes, administrators. Administrators in New York make double that. We have administrators right now in New York State who make over $400,000 a year. Some of you just fell out of your chair. I'm not joking. We have school administrators in New York State who make over $400,000 per year. Taxpayer dollars going to their pocket so that we can rank 34th in the country. So that kids in Rochester cannot graduate. So that we literally can be ranked 49th in literacy. $400,000 for that. And this goes back to our at least mindset. Now, teachers, you might go, well, wait a minute. The teachers got to teach. No, if you remember, when I ran in 2018, one of my slogans was, let teachers teach. We don't do that. What do? Most teachers who leave education, it's not because of the kids. Some do, but most not because of the kids. It's not because of the workload. Most teachers are okay with that. Most like, I'll take it. I'm doing it. I care about the kids. They will put up with a lot. Teachers will put up with a whole lot. What they are tired of is administrators controlling them. New York State's a perfect example. I keep bringing up New York because I know it so well, but this is across the country. We forced our teachers, if you want to be a teacher, to get this degree, this certificate, that certificate. Then they come in to the classroom and an administrator tells them what to do. Well, then why did you have them get all these degrees? If you're going to tell them what to do and not let them teach and use their education to do their job, just hire high school graduates. I'm not joking. If you're going to tell them everything to do and make them do everything as you see fit, don't make them jump through hoops. Just say graduate high school. We'll tell you what to do. The point of the teacher getting all of these degrees, getting all of these credentials is so they can be in the classroom and teach. We don't do that. And then they make more money. So good teachers do one of two things, generally speaking. After a certain amount of time, they get tired of it. So they do one of two things. They quit or they become an administrator. Why? Because you make more money. You make more money, double on average, if not more, being an administrator. So why would you be a teacher? We have districts in New York State where there are more administrators than teachers. Now, what do most of those administrators do? You're going to say, wow, Larry, it's paperwork. Yes, they make sure things go well so the money comes in from the federal and state governments. Yes. They're basically making sure the money comes in. That's their goal, getting more money into the school district. That's it. That's their goal. That's their job. What about the kids being educated? They're in the way. The kids are in the way, right? Why do the teachers get so angry? Teachers are like, I'm trying to teach kids. Administrators are like, I don't care about them damn kids. I got money to make. Again, I wish I was joking. I'm not. Now, I've been saying this for years. Who's come at me? Who's told me I'm wrong? Nobody, because I'm right. That's what's actually happening. And it's not just happening here, it's happening everywhere, all around. You'll find the best teachers leaving. The best teachers are leaving. So I don't care if they tear it down. It's not a bad thing to tear it down. Let me grab a couple more of these if I can, just so you understand. Federal government now, about $1 in $7 is federal money across the state, across the country. About 1 in 7. Think about that. About 13 to 14% of the money coming into schools is from the federal government. They control the schools. They will say they don't. You will hear them say, they don't control them. They don't tell them about curriculum. But why don't you ask anyone who's been in the school districts, any of them, ask them this question. Why do you guys stop civics? Why did you guys stop shop? Why did you guys stop home ec? Why'd you do that? We wanted that. We wanted home ec. We wanted shop. We wanted civics. We wanted that. And they'll tell you, it's not in a test. What? It's not in a test. The test that the federal government has us take so we can get federal money, they don't have home ec on that test. They don't have civics on that test. They have English, or they call it language arts, because you can't call it English because I guess you'd be I don't know, jingoistic or something. So it's not called English. It's language arts. Just so when anyone doesn't speak English won't get mad. And math and science, whatever they call it. That thing, right? That's what it is, right? By the way, we rank 34th in math and science. The top 81 is OECD countries, 34th. So even though we're testing it, it ain't working. And we can't read. So we're not even literate. So we rank, I forgot what we rank on literacy. So, I mean, literacy is a joke how bad we rank on literacy. I forgot what it is, like 30 something, whatever, out of the 81 countries, something terrible. So yeah, I think 38th, I think we rank. So yeah, so we don't rank in the top 10 of anything. We spend the most money and we don't get civics and we don't get any of that. Why? It's not a test. In fact, if you go to your schools, you'll find teachers will literally have to suspend other classes so they can focus their kids on test, and they teach the test. You will find students and teachers tell you right to your face, oh, no, we're having a special day today where we're not doing any of the classes. We're just doing prepping for the test. That's it. What about history? Don't need that. That's for chumps. What? It's not a test. How about, I don't know, civics? Yeah, stupid. Gym? Stupid. Okay, wow. Can the boys go out and run around with it? No. Why? Run around is not in a test. I don't get my money. I don't get my cash if the kid's playing baseball, okay? Unless he gets a scholarship and goes to college. Then I get my money. So I get paid if he goes to college, and I get paid if they're going to test. If they're not going to college or they're going to test, get out of my school. You're in my way. I got cash to make. This is now a student industrial complex. Always. Always. I know I'm like a broken record, aren't I? I'm a broken record. Larry, you always say it's about the money. Because it's always about the money. That is the reason why I keep saying this. And then I show you the evidence of it, and you go, damn, I didn't know that. Because no one's paying attention. Because we think it's because Democrats and Republicans or whatever. It's not that. It's not that. It's about the cash. So I'm not upset about this happening at all, right? I'm looking at this right now. Okay, when it comes to overall testing, oh no, yeah. Hold on, yeah. If I'm seeing it right now here, in math, we rank 34th. Yeah, we're not doing that good. Yeah, 34th in math, and yeah, We did 16th in science, so not bad, I guess. We did 16th in science or something. I guess that's good. So I guess we're doing something, I guess. I get maybe. So yes. So anyway, let me keep walking down these roads if I could. So the federal government is not helping. It is harming and hurting local school districts. No civics, no shop, no home ec, because not in the test. Again, if you're making that up, you're just fooling yourself. Just ask anybody who's in the system, they'll tell you. They will just tell you, right? It's terrible. Not just that, kids aren't graduating. We have low graduation rates. We spend the most money, low literacy rates. And the states that are spending the most are doing some of the worst. Again, it's a simple Google search will show you this. I'm not making any of this up. All right, so now I've basically said how bad it is. Great, it's bad. What do we do if they get rid of the Department of Education? Will it get better? Yes, it will. I will guarantee it. I will bet anybody any amount of money you want. Guarantee it. Yes. Because once the incentive from the federal government to do what the government says, once that goes away, now people can actually teach their kids as they see fit. The money can be changed. Things can shift and adjust. It's a chance for change. And will it be in every state? No. Even Trump said it. He's like, some states are going to suffer. Yep, that's true. Yes, some are. But what was supposed to happen, and we can actually do it, which is you see which states are doing well, and then other states copy them. Yes. So you see the states doing well, and go, oh, that works. Why don't we do that? Now, the people going to fight this the most are teachers' unions. You say, well, why would they? They're teachers. They're like, teachers' unions are filled with administrators, not with teachers. See, you don't know that either. Filled with administrators. That's why you always hear people say, I'm an educator. You hear that phrase all the time. I'm an educator. Often what an educator means is I'm an administrator. I don't like to deal with kids at all, but I'm in the education world, so I call myself an educator. Great. What grade do you teach? I don't teach. I'm an administrator. Oh, well, I'm an educator. Who are you educating then? Well, I do paperwork. Okay, but you said educator. Who are you educating? That will be no one. Yes, happens all the time. So whenever someone tells me they're an educator, I go, "Oh, really? What grade you teach?" Oh, well, okay. You use educated to act like you're a teacher, so we can go, "Oh, we love our teachers," when you're just a paper pusher and you probably make things worse. Now, am I saying all administrators are bad? No, stop. I don't want the all police to come get me. No, well, they will come get me anyway. But no, I'm not saying that. Of course, we require administrators. Of course we do. Of course, we require principals and vice principals. Of course we do. Of course we require them, right? When I was in high school, I remember we had like one principal and like 4 vice principals. Now there's like 7,000. And do something else, by the way. This is how New York State runs. New York City runs. You guys who are not in New York City will love this. New York City will have one building. And in one building that's 12 stories high, they'll have 9 stories, and each one is a separate high school. I wish I was joking. Yeah, so I got 4, 5, 6 high schools in one building. Why? Well, because if I have 4 or 5 high schools, what do I need? 4 or 5 principals, 4 or 5 sets of vice principals, 4 or 5 sets of administrators. Yes. So they don't make one school, and they call it a specialized school. They make up some way of doing it. This way they can get more cash because it's a separate school. So that's another way they scam. Again, not making this up. Multiple high schools in one building. Each floor is a separate high school. So you have to have a separate administrative staff for each floor. This is just going, there's the high school. It's 5 floors, 1 principal, a couple administrators, run your school. No. Yes. That's a real thing. Some of you who are not in New York City are like, what? Yes. Again, I wish I was making that up. I'm not. P says, am I living in a Twilight Zone episode? Yes, you are. Peace, yes, you are. That's really how the city works. And it's going to keep going. This is why it is a massive grift. The Department of Education, the Federal Department of Education, is a massive grift. That's what it is. And people are like, I can't believe it. Like, I dare anybody If you know somebody who wants to defend the Department of Education, I'm happy to have them come to me and talk to me about it. I will embarrass them publicly. They probably shouldn't do it, but I'm happy for them to do so. I'm happy for them to do so. It is literally crazy. It is literally insane. There's no way this actually works. So anyway, hold on. I want to go to some answers, but before that, a lot of you guys have been giving me some comments. Let me grab some comments before we go. So yes, Darren is on board. He's like, yes, the entire education system needs to reform. Yes, the entire education system needs to reform. Correct. The problem I think we're going to have here is fear. It's scary, Darren. I'm just being forward. It's scary. People think, oh my God, if we end this, everything goes away, the world ends. It doesn't. It doesn't. The world's not going to end. It just isn't. Now, will things be tough for some states? Yes, that's true. Some things will be tough for some states. That's true. But we'll push forward. I think we have to. So yes. All right, let's see if I can grab some of these here. Darren says, teaching the test and still failing is some serious trouble for our future. There is the worst part, my friend. We spend our time teaching to the test and we still fail. Wow. Wow. And we still fail. Absolutely. Eventually will have to go away. So yes. All righty. Kim, thank you for being a member. Get Department of Education gone. Go back to teaching instead of indoctrination. Now here comes the second piece. Does it mean that all of a sudden indoctrination goes away? No, there'll be state level, but it won't be as bad. It will be better. Not just that, the states and the local people have more control. The problem is you have so many basically unfunded mandates. What I mean by that, if the federal government says you must do X, Y, or Z, or we won't give you money, officially, to be forward, Kim, the federal government does not affect curriculum officially. They don't go, you must do X hours of this, class on that. That is accurate. And people tell you that federal government doesn't decide curriculum. That's what they'll say. Then they're right, technically. But they're wrong in reality. Because what they say is, if you don't do this, we don't pay you. So did they tell you what to do? No. No, they did not. But will they take your money away if you don't? Yes. Yes, they will. That's how they control it. So there'll be less of that coming. More of it will come from the state. There'll be less indoctrination. So yes, I think that's the piece there. Yeah. All righty. Let's see here. Phil says, Vivek, here in New York, we have very generous benefits for people with special needs. True, but people shop for houses based upon what school district has the best special needs classes. Correct also. Yes. And by the way, that's against the law. I know somebody like, what? Yes, it is. I'm not joking. It's against the law in New York City. I think the state, actually. I know New York City, for a realtor to talk about the school district. How insanely stupid is that? That's the virtual signaling garbage laws we have in New York State. They can't do it. I assume it's state because you're licensed by the state in New York. So yeah, so it must be state. So yeah, it must be a state law. Or is it a special city law? I think it's state. Anyway, here in New York City, realtors cannot talk about school districts. Like you can't just Google it. How insanely stupid are my council members and my assembly members. That's why I call them brain dead chimps, because they make laws like that. It feels good. School district. Shut up. You're going to check it anyway. It's stupid. But yes, you are correct. You are correct, Phil. Absolutely. So yes. Peace, thank you for the 499. What do you think about getting a college education online? AI seems perfect for this. Yes, and there's the next piece. Department of Education gives out over $100 billion every year. Yes, $100 billion every year. Now, depending on who you talk to, it could be $100 to $200 billion because what's a grant, what's funding, what is what, right? What goes to K through 12, and then of course you have to add on something else, over $100 billion in college loans. Yes, and the sad part is that will be the hardest thing to deal with. How do you deal with that? You got to put that someplace else. Well, first off, we should end that completely. I will cover that in a minute too. Let me grab some of these and I will cover how to handle K through 12 and how to handle college and how to handle college, both. But yes, education online is the right answer and will eventually be the right answer. Here's the reality. If you see people who are hiring now, and this is sad for people who are going to college now, the odds have been and still are that your college degree is not worth it. I know that sounds terrible. And people who are older are probably saying, Larry, that's stupid. College is everything. It's the way to educate. It is not. It's not the way to success. It isn't. Almost anything you learn in college by the time you get out is irrelevant. Let me repeat that. Almost everything you learn in college by the time you get out is irrelevant. Why? Things change too fast. The average person in New York, the average person in the country takes them 6 years to graduate college. That's the average, if they even graduate. Graduation rates are low as they've ever been. For men, non-existent compared to women. Women are like getting twice as many degrees as men. Men are not graduating. They're going for 6, 8 years, screwing around, working, messing up, whatever, and basically losing 6 years of their lives. We are just stealing 6 years of young men's lives for nothing. We're just stealing them. Insanely stupid. And then we're putting them in debt, and then I'm getting college degrees. The degrees they get are useless. And you're seeing the women who are getting all these double degrees. Women are going back for double masters, triple masters and stuff for nothing. Useless. Nobody cares. I don't mean to be mean. The only place these places matter are two places. Very big business and in legacy type things like law and finance like that. You know, the legacy large businesses and government. Outside that, nobody cares. I don't mean to be mean. I mean, for you, if you're a parent now, looking at your kid, why the hell would you send them off to college if they don't have a plan? Now, if you have a plan different, like your kid wants to be an engineer or wants to be a lawyer or wants to be a doctor, okay, makes sense. But just, he's 18, he's got to go to college. No, he doesn't. Colossal waste of time, money, and energy. Don't do it. Don't do it. Colossal waste of time, money, and energy. Go to college if you have a plan. If you don't have a plan, don't go. Well, he doesn't know what he wants to do. Go get a job. Go work. Figure it out. Then go to college when you have a plan. I went to college. I went to work. I figured out I hate this stuff. This I like. I have an idea what I want to do. Go to college. Makes total sense. But I'm going to go just to go. You're just losing 6 years of your life for no reason. That's what's happening. So AI and education, perfect. And you can learn about AI and get better at AI without going to college. Not required. And most people, if you look at people who are hiring now, hiring managers, they don't care if you went to college. They don't care. Most of the jobs now are being done by people who know each other. It's through networking. And it's what you do and how you do it. They don't care. Can you make stuff happen? Yep. You can't? Have a nice day. And so many people getting laid off now are people who believe they deserve a job because of their credentials, not because of their outcome. Huge difference. Huge difference. Larry, who are you to say this? I'm the guy who hires and fires people. I have taught at the graduate level of Yale and Columbia, and I do not have a graduate degree. That's who I am. I've taught business, leadership, Baruch College. I'm also at John Jay College. My degree is in anthropology. That's who I am. Do what you want with that. Garrett, thank you for a membership, brother. One Sharpe membership. Guys, if you want to become a member, please become a member. It does help. Let me go through this real fast before I keep going. If you wouldn't mind, please click that like button. It is Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please click it if you like it. If you want, stay on. I'm going to give you the answers. I know I'm going to give you the answer. I promise I will. But stay here, click the like button. It will happen. If you have not shared this or reposted it now, why do you hate the children? You hate children, obviously, clearly. Or you would share this or repost this someplace, like in a Facebook group, on X, on Twitter, someplace. You would do that kind of thing. If you have not subscribed yet to YouTube, you should. And when you do, please select all notifications so you get notifications. It does matter. Please also follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. All of those matter. If you want to, you can always super chat me, as you've seen people doing that. It goes right to the front. You can super chat me on YouTube. You can also rant me if you want to on Rumble. All good. You can become a member if you want to on YouTube by clicking that join button. I am asking you to do this for a very important reason. I ask you to join so we can keep the dollars coming in so I can work less. That's the reason. Larry, why do you want you to work less? I can do more of these, right? I was late tonight. Why? Working, right? I worked here today. That's how I pay my bills, right? I'm a consultant. If I'm not in front of clients, I'm not making money. I don't get a salary every year or whatever. I do that, right? So I got to keep working. So that's how we roll. So that's why I'm doing this. More the better. $29 per month. Also on Rumble. Click that subscribe button. Life is good. And thank you again. Remember our rule. If you made $10 million this week, you can't take the free membership, right? If you made $10 million this week, you got to pay the $49. But if you didn't make $10 million, you may take Garrett Sharpe with membership. Just remember the rules. I don't want anybody cheating who made $10 million taking a freebie. Don't do that. It's not the right thing. If you made $10 million, Stop it. That's all. All right. So, Ryan, thank you for the $5. Larry, I'm going back to college in order for me to coach football and catch these kids young and keep them out of these forever wars. That is brilliant. You have a plan. I'm not against college. I'm against college with no plan. And the vast majority of people, vast majority, go to college because I'm supposed to go, because my mom or dad told me to, or because my teacher told me to, or that's what we do, or my friends are. All terrible reasons to go to college. Go to college because you have a plan. That's a good plan. Please go to college. Brilliant idea. Plans is what matters. Thank you for that. All righty. Let me go down a couple more of these before I go into what I wanted to cover. Pete coming in strong. 36 trillion, 216 billion, 695 million, $558,849.86, the national debt. So maybe I'm gonna say something radical here, Pete. Radical. Maybe if we got rid of the $200 billion the Department of Education does every single year, over that every year, we could pay down some of that debt. I mean, not by much. No bet. No bet. Every bit counts, right? P says, burn it down. You're not wrong. Phil, when the people step up, we will step down. George Bush. That would be nice. I wish that were true. I love that idea. I really hope so. That would be amazing. Yes. Andrew asked the question. Now it becomes, if it were brought to the congressional vote, would all the Republicans in the House and Senate follow through? My instinct out. I agree. I think they probably won't. That's just my view. I think they probably won't. Yes. Shelley, thank you for being a member. There's no single reason to have a federal Department of Education. Correct. Education is not in the Constitution. Education should not be in the Constitution. And I will say this one more time so everyone's clear. Every single president we've ever had has somehow graduated and gotten educated without a Department of Education. Quote, I don't know the first part. School funding relies too much on property tax. Correct. I will give you my plan how to fix it. Yes, you are 100% correct. It should not. Yes, it should not be. You are correct. Yes, thank you for that. So, all righty. Mike Voss in the house comes out strong too. Dump the Department of Education. They are responsible for illiterate college students. Correct also. Also correct. Yes, this whole concept is terrible. Yes. Rick, thank you for being a member. Damn, I'm late for school. I'll just sit in the corner now. We got to put a dunce cap on. Do that. I'm looking over at Rumble. Joel says the mission of the DOE is to educate, to make compliant worker drones, not independent educated thinkers. Also true. And it's even failing at that. So it's not even doing that right. So yeah. He goes on to say, the meme with the punchline, if those kids could read, they'd be very angry, is too close to the truth. Yes. Yeah. Look, I have kids in school. I know it's not good. You have to give them tutors for them to really be good. And that sucks. It shouldn't be, right? It shouldn't be. That's the problem. So, all right. I think that's all working. Let me grab a couple more of these if I could. Let's see. Mike is still saying, we made computers, got to the moon, made the internet, all without DOE. Now we have safe spaces. Nicely done. Nicely done. Yes. Nicely done. Absolutely. That Liberty Lady says, here in Jacksonville, we have a loud group of women who wear defend public school shirts. They hate school choice. They love government intervention. Yes, because they're probably all union workers getting paid. It's about cash. Yes. Dave says the school superintendent in Omaha made over $300,000. Administrators make more than teachers. Yes. Yes. Shelley says we are one that made over $300K. Yes. We replaced it with a competent woman who only took 125. Yes. All the time. Yes. Phil says you need a master's degree to be a teacher in public school, but only a bachelor's to design bridges. Yes. So in public school, and again, I'm not mad at some teacher who wants to teach and jumps through the hoops and gets the master's degree and gets the credentials and gets the training and does all the things and then shows up and goes, great, now I'm going to run my own classroom. I got this. This is why I did this. And two administrators come in and go, okay, you can't do this, must do that, can't do this, must do that, can't do this, must do that. She's like, what? Wait a minute. I just jumped to, I'm in debt now too. I jumped through all these hoops and now I'm in debt. So I can be told what to do. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. I absolutely agree. Makes no sense. That whole concept drives me nuts. So yes, Ryan says, kids can't read, write, or count, but it's not because federal government's rules or regulations. What a complete hypocritical joke. Yes. Before the DOE, the kids could read, write, and count. Do you remember that? They made it right now. So like you go into certain places to work in a retail joint, they just get the pictures of the food. You got to put the picture of the food and the machine gives out the change because the kid can't read and the kid can't do math. I'm not joking. I wish I was. Yes. Kim, thank you for being a member. I went to culinary school with people who are freshly graduated from high school who could not function at a third grade math level. Many of them. I'm not joking. Yes, that's a common problem. In fact, you might ask, why in the world does it take 6 years to graduate college now as an average? Here's the reason. Mike is right. Mike said college students can't read. That's correct. So what winds up happening? The first year of college is 13th grade. They have to actually take a year to teach them how to read and write and stuff because high school didn't. They come to college not ready for college. So they have to have a first year to teach them how to go to college because high school has failed them. Well, Larry, high school can't be that bad. I'm telling you the truth. How did my daughter graduate from college in 2 years? How'd she do that? Because I'm so super smart? I mean, I am, but that isn't the point. What actually happened was I told her in her last year was COVID year. It was a lockdown year. Lockdowns crushed America and educators, no tomorrow. And they'll never admit that. Those pieces of garbage who wrecked our kids in those stupid, unnecessary lockdowns will never admit it's their fault. They did it. Cuomo included, Hochul included. All of them included. They did it. Newsom, all of them. They all did it. They locked us down and wrecked us. But I'm sorry, I'm getting all triggered. Mike's going to get mad at me if I get triggered. I'm not going to get triggered, Mike. Okay, calm. Breathe in. I'm good. All right. So I knew it was COVID lockdowns. I said, don't go to school. She said, what? Don't go to school. What do you mean? I said, don't go to school. Are you not hearing what I'm saying? Go to college instead. So I just paid for her to go to college instead for the first year. So she went to college for the first year while she was officially still in high school. Why? Because they're going to pass her. And they did. She didn't show up. She got a high school diploma. And I knew she would. I know the system. I was like, why are you going to go to high school? They're not going to do anything. They're going to pass you no matter what. Nothing you learn. I'm be very clear. Some of you are going to be mad, but I don't care. It's true. Nothing you learn in 12th grade has any value ever in your life. Utterly useless. How do I know that? My daughter just did it. Nothing you learn in 12th grade has any value in life for you at all. Utterly useless, a waste of your time. For most kids, 12th grade is 2 gyms, smoking weed, and video games. And then we wonder why they can't read in college. Utterly useless. No one of those, education is so important. It's not. It's garbage. It means nothing. It's utterly useless. None of you watching go, 12th grade, I learned so much. Oh my God, I used it my entire life. None of you thought that. And none of them do. If you're 30 now, you laugh at your 12th grade. If you're 25 now, you remember it. You were high the entire time. You have no idea. I mean, it's terribly bad. It's utterly bad. So anyway, to your point, Kim, to your point, Mike, yes. So she got 1 year in before she went to college. Then I had to do CLEP tests to get rid of her, the stupid other stuff that doesn't matter, right? All the extracurriculum stuff, which is useless. I had to just test out of those. She took her main courses for 2 years and got out. Done deal. 2 years. That's how I did it. I also graduated in 2 years. Same thing. What I did back, and I graduated in the 90s. That's when I graduated. I went to school late. I practiced what I preached. I joined the Marine Corps. When I figured I needed a degree, I went to college. I got to college, did my college in 2 years as an active Marine, did my college in 2 years, copied it with my daughter. I knew college was garbage in the 90s. I knew it was garbage then. Still garbage now. Anyway, sorry. Mike is still talking. Did you, I think you mean C. Did you see the story on the CT illiterate college student from this weekend? Major media will never let the stories go national. They had it from parents. Yes. Now here's the issue. It's because so much money is made on giving out loans. That's the problem. Yes, that's the problem. David says, according to the NEA, per student spending is $30,000. That's, fiscal year 2022 to 2023. Look at you can go right now, Google the New York State budget, 2024, 2025, 2025, 2026. It's $36,000. That was accurate then. It keeps going up. Hochul has added over $6 billion to our education budget. And that's why now, Dave, 2023 numbers, that's accurate. I used to say 30,000. Now it's 36. So yes, now it's 36. Michael's on to say, teachers live in my apartment building, teaches 7th grade. Revealed that students read at 4th grade level and they're all promoted to 8th grade anyway. Yes. They promote them. Why? If you don't promote them, guess what, Mike? You don't get paid. Because you have to have a rate of moving them forward. You have to have a graduation rate. So if your kids aren't graduating, you don't get paid. Again, the kids are in the way. This is about grift. The kids are in the way. If they could leave the kids home every day, they would. And they did. During the lockdowns, they're like, send the kids home. We don't want to go to work. We don't want to have them Zoom. We can't paid. We don't care. In fact, if we say if we wreck them and call them all special needs out there, we'll give them more money. God, I wish I was joking. But it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. That's how it's actually working. And you see it everywhere. You see it every single place, all over the place. Yes. Shelley says, hospitals have a lot of good paying jobs that will train you on a job. Yes. Some of them they can't though. Some of them they can't because of how the government rules work. So some don't. So yes. Greg says, thank you for being a member, Greg. Amazon's a good place for high school grads to go to work instead of college because they will pay for their schooling if they decide to go later. Had a coworker who became an ENT with help from the benefits. Yeah, yes, that does happen, right? Depends on the place, what you want to do. UPS used to be very good that way. I don't know if they still are. FedEx is terrible in that. But UPS used to be good that way. I know Amazon will do something. There are a lot of different companies that will do that if you ask them. A lot of them will. All depends on the company. Yes, some will absolutely do that. Yes. Peace over on Rumble. Thank you for the $1. What do you think about the human race? All this deception. Are we doomed? No, not at all. Not at all. The glory of the internet and shows like this piece is that more and more people are seeing through it, right? I was horribly shadow banned in 2020 when I was bringing this up. 5 years ago, it was devastating for me. I mean, it wrecked everything I was doing. It destroyed my party, destroyed everything I was doing. Just wrecked it. The system completely, which is why I get so triggered from lockdowns. Or do I get triggered? Because it affected me so horribly. But now people are hearing. They're listening. They're remembering. So no, I feel like this is okay. We're not doomed. I feel like people are starting to get it and realize that it's about the cash. And when we get that, we go, okay, let's fix this. So Peace was on to say, I know I'm asking such stupid questions. Give me the to-do list on how to save the world. Send it to my email. Let's get it done. I absolutely will. I'm going to give you the answers. Nate is on Rumble. He says, some people think it's because I don't want government to do something. That means I don't want that thing to be done. Frederick Bastia. Yes, correct. Never does it occur to them that the private sector does it voluntarily for less. Correct. And I mentioned that. New York State, thank you, Nate. New York State spends $36,000 per kid. The average private school in New York State is $21,000. Doing it better for less. Larry, a private school is better? Yes. If you think private schools aren't better, you live in a fantasy world. How do I know that? Because the wealthy people send their kids to private schools. That's how I know they do it better. Yes, they do it better. Of course they do. Yes. Ray, $5 says, why is student loans the only indestructible debt? Yes. Oh, so good, Ray. All right. Let me grab a couple more of these and I'm going to go into the solutions because Peace is getting antsy. He's going to wind up bailing on me if I don't do this. So I'm going to have to give you some of those too. I'm going to give you some answers. I'm going to cover some of those too if we can. All right, let me start walking down that road. Number one thing. Kyote, I don't know how to say his first part, is correct. He says that one of the bad parts that we have in our system is that it's based too much on property tax. Correct. Shouldn't matter what your zip code is. Shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. And there was someone who actually said, in one of these interviews, look, Department of Education is here to make sure, that people, don't just have success based upon zip code. That's been true for 45 years. That's still true today. So for 45 years, the Department of Education has been in place, and kids are still there. You can basically tell how good they're going to do based upon their zip code. That hasn't changed. So it's failed. Hasn't changed. Not just that, it's going to help out with diversity and such. Okay, New York City, most amount of money, gets the most money, spends the most money, most segregated school districts in the entire country. It's not working. What should we do? No matter what you follow, if you want to look at what countries have great social services, schools, things like that, right? One of them is Norway. Norway always comes up well, of course. Why? Norway has a massive sovereign fund. I say it all the time. If you have a massive sovereign fund, you can do all types of cool things for your people. Of course you can. So what have I been saying forever? New York State has created its own sovereign fund, the New York State Social Trust. We have to create this. That is the way out of this mess. That's the way out of this mess. If you create a social trust, which let's say separate trust. Now you might go, but Larry, that's going to be just like the lottery. If those of you old enough to remember, New York State lottery was made so the money can go to education. That was the goal. That went away. They took that and put it to the general fund. You're going to follow the Singaporean model. The Singaporean also have a massive trust fund, right? Which is great, a sovereign fund. It's a separate company, not run by the government. Yes, it is a separate company with a separate president, a separate CEO, a separate board, separate investors. Yes. Well, then, Larry, wait a minute. It won't be run by government? Correct, which is why it will work. But Larry, our pension fund is great. Is that so? Then why does 20% of all the money and taxes we pay into our education system go to pensions? Oh, you don't want to hear that. I hear New Yorkers say it all the time. Larry, the pension, the controllers tell us the pension fund's set for years and blah, 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 blah. Yes, because if it doesn't do well, taxpayers pay it. If it's guaranteed by taxpayer dollars, of course it's good. If it doesn't work, New York taxpayers pay. So of course it's always solid, no matter what. 20% of all the money in education goes to pensions. Again, 40% of those are not even in our state. End that garbage. We make a sovereign fund. That sovereign fund then gives money directly from that fund, directly, not through government, not through the states, not through anything, not through the counties, directly to each school district. $18,000 per kid. Why 18? Because it's half of 36. Take your money and shut up. And if private schools do it for 21, average, you can do it. Now, here's the reality. The average is actually lower because, and why do I say that? Because the wealthy pay $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 per year for the kid. They don't care about this stuff. They don't even care about this. They're wealthy. They don't care about this. This is for the poors. They don't care. They're going to put their kids in a $40,000 a year school because they're wealthy. They don't care about poors, whatever. You guys have your teachers' unions or whatever you guys have. You have that. They don't care. So that's not even going to affect them. So the average is actually lower. So $18,000 will be plenty of money, right? That goes to every district regardless of where they are. That's what the district gets. Now, wait a minute, that's what they get. Yeah. But they're talking right now about putting districts together and making more schools. Yes, because of the student industrial complex. But if you simply get $18,000 per kid, that's it. That's what you get. There's no grant writing. There's no federal funds. You get that. Why would you have 5 schools in one building? You wouldn't. There's no incentive. Why would you? You wouldn't. You'd have one high school. Of course you would. Why would you have an extra 75 administrators in a given district who are worrying about federal funds and state funds? You wouldn't. There are no other federal funds. There are no state funds. They would go away. Yeah. Yes. And that money goes, no strings. So now you as a local mom or dad says, hey, I'd like to have civics in my class. They go, okay. There's no test. You don't have to take any standardized testing if you don't want to. Up to you. You can decide if you want to. I'm not saying you don't have to. It's not required. Why? No federal mandates. No state mandates. Judge your kids as you see fit. Done. Yeah. I want to have shop. Okay. Have shop. Home ec. Okay. Have it. Yes. I want to focus more on science in this school. I want to focus more on AI in this school. I'm going to focus more on whatever. Okay. It's your school. Cheat your kids as you see fit. You get 18 grand. But I'm not districted. I didn't send them my districts. Send your kid whatever school you want. But Larry, what if there's more kids in that district? Then they'll get more money because the money follows the kid. I don't care. Well, Larry, I want to drive my kid an hour every day to go to school. Okay. I want to walk to the next one. Okay. Why are you talking to me? I got something to do. Take your kid where you want to take your kid. That's it. Each school district becomes its own district. And if it's a crap district, no one will go there. They'll make new schools. How will they make new schools? Because it's $18,000 per kid. Get your kids in the school, you're good to go. Now, what if one school is really good and wants to grow really big? Great. It could take some of that money and make a busing system. Good. I don't care. $18,000 per kid. Done deal. Changes everything. Doesn't matter what school district you're in. Doesn't matter where you're going. 18 grand per kid. And the money follows the kid. That is the way of making that work, but I'm still not done. Add on top of that, a $6,000 credit if you want to homeschool or private school your kid. Yes, $6,000 credit if you want to homeschool or private school your kid. So you're in a school district. And I had this happen. A person was asking me about, they didn't like woke schools. Like, I don't want my kid in a woke school. And I said, I don't care if your school's woke or not. You make your school as woke as you want it to be, as unwoke as you, I don't care. It's up to you. $18,000, enjoy. But what if you're in a system that is not woke enough for you? Some New Yorkers love that kind of stuff. I don't care. Educate your kid as you see fit. So you think the school's not good enough for you or whatever. Okay. Send them to private school. Guess how much private schools will cost? $6,000 a year. How do I know that? Because there are some now who already do, right? For the average person, if you go to like a regular, like a Catholic school here in New York City, if you go to a Greek Orthodox school, as I've sent my kids to here, I'm Orthodox, so send them to a Greek Orthodox school. It's like $6-7 grand a month. A year. That's it. You can do it. Government now takes care of that. Done. You want to homeschool. You have a credit to buy stuff. You can make your own school. What do I care? Make it as woke or as unwoke as you want it to be. Make it as conservative as you want it to be. Or as woke. I don't care. Educate your kid. I don't care. But Larry, the kids won't learn anything. Where's your evidence of that? None. That's a fear you made up. You made that up. Right now, our kids can't read. They're freaking illiterate. Now they are. I just showed you the data. They're illiterate now. You tell me something worse? Tell me you're in charge. You can decide what school your kid goes to. You can decide if you're happy or not. And you tell me it's going to be worse. Stop. You've made that up. You've made that up in your mind. That's just fear. I'm scared. That's all that is. There's no evidence of that. And again, prior to 1980, we didn't have a DOE. And somehow the kids still learned. Somehow they still learned. But why only 6,000? Because just because your kid goes to private school or is homeschooled, they should still be able to use the facilities of the district. I want communities to be together. I say it all the time. So why in the world would I want your kid to be homeschooled and stay home? No, you're homeschooled. You can still join the football team. You can still be in a math club. You can still go to the prom. You can still do the things that other kids do. Be part of your community. You just get homeschooled or you go to private school. So you go to a private school, but then you still go after school. You all go to the same football team or whatever your math club, whatever your thing is. I don't care. Future Farmers of America, all good. But I'm still not done. Now you end this idea completely of standardized testing prior to high school. You can have it in high school and afterwards. Prior to high school, standardized testing is a terrible idea. It hurts our children. What, Larry? How can we know? It hurts our children. It hurts our children. Why do I know that? Because some kids just aren't good test takers. A lot of them aren't, right? Don't pay attention, whatever, all that good stuff. So now your kids in 4th grade, 3rd grade, 6th grade, whatever it is, take a test. They don't score well. Now they're titled the dumb kid. Well, you're titled the dumb kid. You're treated as such. Affects your entire life. Who cares? I don't care if you're a good test taker. The thing that we've taught our kids is getting good grades matters. Getting good grades means nothing. Let me say that again. Getting good grades means nothing. You can do really good on tests. You go off to the workforce, no one's testing you. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. When I do my teaching and training, I have to break people of terrible habits when it comes to presenting, talking. People get up and present like they're presenting a school paper to a teacher. Who cares if you did your homework? In the business world, nobody gives a shit. What's in it for me? Can you get to the point, please? Stop talking. Get to the point. Stop talking. Get to the point. Not in school. School isn't. Let me tell you all the blah, 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 blah. That's for the school. In the real world, nobody cares. Stop it. If I care, I'll check it out. That's how the real world works. Well, except for government. Government's school. So that's the same. But unless you work for government, nobody cares. You're going to break all that stuff. So end that. Once you're in high school, you can take standardized testing. But the standardized testing is actually for aptitude. What are you good at? What do you want to do? What do you enjoy? That's what a test should be for. And once you're 16, you take a test. If you pass that test, you get a high school diploma. That's not how it works in New York State. You have to jump through hoops and get what's called and now they have decided they have a Regents diploma. Utterly worthless, means nothing, a colossal waste of time, money, and energy, has zero value. No one cares what your Regents diploma in New York State. Nobody does. It means nothing. I know I keep saying this, but I have to carry forward because people think this stuff matters. I hear them talk about it. Oh, my son's getting a Regents diploma. Nobody cares. Give him a job. Nobody gives a shit about a Regents diploma. No, this has never happened. Someone goes, let's see your resume here. What? Regents diploma from New York State? You're hired. Happened never. Nobody cares. All that stuff's stupid. 16, get a high school diploma. You're done. Now you're 16, high school diploma. Once that happens, we're going to copy the way that happened when I was a Marine. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I had a GI Bill. And they gave me, I think it was 10 years, and I think $50,000. I forgot what the number was. I didn't use it. I already had a college degree. But I could have used like $50,000 for 10 years to go get a college degree if I wanted to get one. It was GI Bill back then. This is back in the 90s. I don't know what it is now. But that's what it was. I'm going to copy that model. Every New York State student at 16 has $20,000 that they can use towards education and 5 years to use it. You got $20,000 for 2 years. What does that mean? Now at 16, you have several options. At 16, I'm 16. I've gone through my basic reading, writing, arithmetic. I know how to read and write. I know because the local people taught me to. I probably went to civics, so I actually know what the government's about. None of the kids now have any idea what the government's about. They'll actually know what it is. I probably went to home ec and shop, so I can actually do something with my hands. And I actually know how to do things like, for example, I know how to balance a budget, which no kids know how to do. I know what credit is. I learned that in home economics, which no kids know how to do right now. That's what they're all in gazillion dollars of debt. They don't know. So we don't teach them how to live. This system does. So now, if it's when you're 16, you have a clue how to live in your life. So you have options. Option one, take your $20,000, go to trade school. Say, hey, I want to become a plumber. I want to become a whatever, carpenter, whatever. And you 2 years school. You will see trade schools pop up all over the place. How much will those trade school cost for 2 years? $20,000. How do I know that? That's the government money they're going to get. That's what the price will be. You will see them pop up everywhere. Why? It's guaranteed government money. That's how it works, right? That's what will happen. So boom, that happens. So that happens when it goes to trade school. You go, I don't want to be trades. I don't want to do that. I want to be a specialist. I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever. I'm going to do that. Awesome. Awesome. Go to a specialized school for that. That will prep you for college. You won't need 13th grade. In fact, you might be able to graduate in 2 or 3 years. Why? Because you have a 2-year prep school for that. You want to be a nurse. You want to be a doctor. You want to be a teacher, whatever. You know what you want to be. Awesome. Do that. So you don't know that yet. You're not sure. Good. Go to a college prep school. 2 years, go to that. That's your liberal arts to kind of figure out where you want to go. Do it then before you go to college. So you'll know, oh, I hate math. I love math. I hate science. I love science. Whatever. I love history. I'm a history teacher. Great. Whatever. You learn it then. And then you move on to go to college and you're ready for college. You are prepped. Maybe you can graduate in 3 years instead of 4. Spend less money. Look at that. You don't want to do any of that. Great. Go get a job. Just go work. And I hear this all the time. You libertarians want child labor. Shut up. Stop with that stupidity. No libertarian wants child labor. Stop. You're 16. You can work. I worked at 16. Most people my age worked at 16. You didn't die in a loom accident or get stuck in a bobby pin factory. Stop with that insane stupidity. It's not 1850. Stop. That's insanely stupid. I hear it all the time. If you say it, you're a goddamn moron. Stop. 16 years old, you can work. Go work if you want to. I'm not saying you have to, but you can. Go get a job. Learn a work ethic. Most kids don't ever learn a work ethic. They screw around in high school and get coddled. They screw around in college and get coddled. Now they go to work and nobody wants to hire them. And you hear it all the time. They're making that up. You're fooling yourself too. Do basic Google research. You will see employers crying. They can't stand it. And I never forget this story I've told before, and I'll keep telling it because it resonated so much. I had a guy when I told a story back in 2018, 2019. He said, Larry, you're so right. He goes, here is my hiring criteria. I said, what? He goes, I tell them that the interview's at 8 o'clock. I open the door at 8 o'clock. If they're there, they're hired. That's it. If they showed up on time, they're hired. That's it. And I told that story like a month later to somebody else. And that person said, oh my God, Larry, he's so right. I had 12 interviews this week. 6 were no-shows, 4 were late. Only 2 out of 12 came on time and came up at all. Only 2. That's the work ethic we have in America right now. You might get mad at me. I don't care. It's true. And if you're paying attention, you know it's true. You know I'm telling the truth. You know it's true. That's how it works. Teach them now. Now, the pushback I get all the time is, Larry, these kids are 16. They're going to make mistakes. Good. The price for failure at 16 is nothing compared to the price of failure at 26. Nothing. Just don't, mom and dad. You screw up. So what? You screwed up. You made a mistake, whatever. You got 5 years to figure yourself out. You're going to get paid. Go get a job. Start a business. Do something. Learn a work ethic. Make the mistake. Have your boss, when you're 17, call you a knucklehead for not coming in on time. Learn that when you're 17. So by the time you're 19, 20, you know what a work ethic is. And if you don't like a 9 to 5, you may find out that by the time you're 19, 9 to 5 is not right for you. Good, go start a business. Go start a business. Whatever. But you figured out early. This system will help so much. This system will break everything we've done. This would make New York one of the best states to raise your children in, period. Doesn't raise taxes. In fact, it ends taxes. Why? If the New York State Trust is paying for education, why do you need school tax? You don't. Depending on where you live in New York State, about half of your property tax is school tax, give or take, in that area. We just cut property tax by half. You might actually stay in the state and raise your kids. I would ask you, what candidate has ever talked about it this way? Only me. And I brought us up back in 2018, and I haven't stopped yet. Haven't stopped yet. This is fixable. But it's fixable only if we get rid of the federal government. So why do you think I want to get rid of the DOE? To put this system into play, and it actually works. It actually would work. Happier kids. You might go, Larry, wait a minute. Happier kids? Yes. Which means by default, less school violence. What do you mean less school violence? Okay. If you're 16 and you go to a specialized school, well, everyone in that school is like you in that regard. I mean, he wants the same thing. The bullying is going to be minimal. Not joking. The bullying is going to be minimal. We'll have specialized baseball schools, football schools, of course. And there'll be the NFL and Major League Baseball and a college will be pulling our kids out of schools. It's no tomorrow. Because it'll be a 2-year specialized school where all you care about is football or baseball or whatever. Being a doctor, a lawyer, whatever. You care about that one thing. But now they won't get a world-round education. Shut up. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. That's a thing we made up. It's not a thing. We just made it up. Well-rounded. What, so they can be indoctrinated? Stop. They can watch YouTube. Watch my show. You'll be well-rounded. You're good. Watch my show. You're well-rounded. Go play some damn football or baseball or be a good lawyer. Why aren't you at 16 working in a law firm? Why not? Why aren't you at 16 learning to be an EMT? Why not? Why aren't you at 16 playing football, baseball, going to AAA? Why not? Of course you should. Instead, we think they need to spend the last 2 years in high school and stuff they're never going to learn, never going to matter, irrelevant, useless. But it's got to learn 12th grade biology. No one uses that unless you're going to be a doctor. If you're going to be a doctor, you'll learn it in a specialized school. You'll go to your 2-year school and learn lots of biology. You're going to be a doctor. You should know biology if you're going to be a doctor. I'm sorry, I went on forever, but that was important. I also need to go on to, if I could, college in a second. Let me grab first, if I could, a couple more of these comments. I'm over here on Rumble now. Peace, thank you for $2. New York spends $36,000 a year on each student. God help me, I'm angry. Every corner of our life is distorted. Health, education, love. We need to find the core problem that's causing all of this. I just told you it's the industrial complex. It's the federal money. It is the industrial complex. That's what it is. Now, if New York could do it and the rest would follow, eventually each state could sue the federal government and say, we're not paying you anymore. Actually, that Maine's already doing that. Remember how unhappy Maine is with Trump? They're threatening to sue and say, we're not paying you any taxes anymore. You don't know how much I love that idea. You don't know how much I love that idea. So let that happen. And then sue the federal government with enough people saying, you're not giving us money for education anymore. We don't want to pay your taxes. No, we'll just sue you. In fact, we'll just all boycott you. We're not going to pay your taxes. Nope. Done. Love the idea. So yes, I gave you the answer. That is the answer. The answer is the federal government. It's what makes things worse. It's what destroys things. This system would fix it. So yes, let me grab some of these if I could. Ryan says, administrators and the regulations drive me insane. Correct. That's why people leave the system. Yes. Grace says, nursing schools are full of disillusioned teachers. Yes. Also, guys, I'm saying this stuff and you all agree because you know it's all true. Everything I'm saying is true. Yes. And then why liberty? Lol, 5 to 6 years of college just to get a job that requires you to follow a script and not deviate. Correct. Why go through it? Just get high school graduates. You're correct. Yes. It is crazy how people get that. Yes. Mastermind hours. Thank you for being a member, my friend. No child left behind means no child gets ahead, except the wealthy who aren't part of that system. See, I keep bringing this up because the elites on TV, that CNNs and Fox Newses and MSNBCs will all tell you, you got to worry about this, that, the other. They're not in those systems. None of their kids are in that system. I know these people. I live in New York City. They're not in this system. I pulled my kids out of system whenever I could. I gave them tutors. The system doesn't work. It doesn't work. So yes, that's absolutely true. They're not in. That's why. Yes. Felicia says, that's what I did. I went to college while I was in high school. Bingo, Felicia. See, you knew. Some people get it. You got it. I love it. Yes, absolutely. Garrett says, smart move, Larry. There we go. Trying to move forward, make this happen. 100%. Phil says, yep, CLEP and AP test, great value. I took CLEPs too. Yep, CLEP a whole bunch of stuff. Yes, 100%. All righty. Masterman says, my 12th grade, I was a traveling salesman selling soap from Wisconsin to Florida. That's a valuable 12th grade. Yes. There we go. Felicia, my last semester of high school, I left school, let's go to college. Guys, yes, 12th grade's useless. Useless. Move on. I'm not making that up either. We all seeing it. We're all talking about it. We've all felt it. It's not just you. It's all of us. Yes. It's all of us. Useless. That's the issue. Greg, thank you for being a member. Parents, read to your kids as soon as possible after they're born. I will guarantee they won't become illiterate. Also true. Also true. Yes. Also true. So I do want to cover yeah. James says, how are you going to pay for the $6,000 credits? It's basically almost like an EBT type thing. It's a card that comes out of the government that only goes to whatever is for school. That's how you do it. Yes. That's how we do it. Very simple. Same way we do stuff now. I wouldn't change. Same concept. That's how you pay for it. Same concept. And there's a concept with that when it comes to healthcare too, but I'm not going to healthcare tonight. Not doing that at all. No healthcare tonight. So yes. All righty. The Legacy right says, I played for my Catholic school's basketball team when I was homeschooled. Yes. We had to fight like hell, but I played and we went unbeaten. That's the point. You were still part of your community. And that's what I want. I don't want to destroy communities. They matter, right? Absolutely. Mike says, I had a teacher in 3rd grade that claimed I couldn't read because I was bored and I read all the material. If the DOE existed, they would have labeled me special needs rather than give me a better teacher. Perfect. That is the perfect example. When the DOE exists, what it does is it puts everyone into boxes. Everyone goes in the boxes and we all pay. You're 100% true. Yes, absolutely. Rick says, I was crap in school. Then I tested out my GED. I'm an autodidact. Most of the savage people are. Most of them are. Look at some of our billionaires. Most of them are college dropouts. Yes. What did college teach them? Yes, absolutely. Shin says, how can we have accountability if we completely abolish testing prior to high school? There should be less emphasis on testing, but it should not be abolished. It's info for teachers and parents. I didn't say abolish. You said abolish. I said not required by federal government or state government. That's what I said. I never said abolish. Never. Never said that. That's an assumption. Again, that's the problem that we have. If this is right to what Nate just said, if the federal government won't do it, it can't be done. No, let schools pick their own requirements. Private schools do it, and somehow private schools do it, and the wealthy love it. The wealthy love it. They're paying, in New York City, $40,000 a year to have that happen. Why can't we get the same good treatment that the wealthy have? Let the schools create their own tests and push it forward as they see fit. And if you're unhappy, remove your kid from that school. If you're unhappy, go on the board, right, on the PTA, and change the curriculum. You can now. I'm sorry. You can with my plan. Now you can't do it because the federal government has far too much money. You can be in a PTA all you want. You ain't changing a damn thing. You ain't changing anything. You're doing window dressing because the federal government's deciding everything and the state government's deciding everything. You are doing window dressing. But with my system, you change it. Let's say, Shanette, you actually you don't like the test. It's not hard enough for you. Change it. It's too hard. Change it. You're in charge. That's the point. You educate your kid as you see fit. You can make it as hard as you want. And there will be schools that will be really hardcore schools. Of course, you see it now. There will be hardcore schools. There'll be hardcore STEM schools, hardcore schools. And you will say, I want my kid in that school. Or you'll go, not for my kid. No, my kid needs to go to this school. Or you'll homeschool them. Or you'll private school them. I didn't say abolishing anything. I never said that. I just said the federal government guidelines are clearly garbage and clearly don't work. Why? We can't read. New York City, I'm going to say this again for you guys who didn't hear the first time. My mayor, Mayor Adams, 2 years ago said, we're going to start teaching our kids to read. His words. I'm not making this up. His words. Clearly, their testing was garbage. Now you can do it. I didn't say abolish. You do as you see fit. If I have to trust somebody to educate their kids, and it's me or some bureaucrat, it's you, your kids, or some bureaucrat, I'm going to trust the parents. Now, the parents will be wrong sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Bureaucrats are wrong. Parents will be wrong sometimes. Of course they will be. But if a parent is wrong, they affect one kid for 1 year, and then we fix it. Very repairable. When the bureaucrats are wrong, they destroy an entire generation. How do I know that? It's called Common Core. It's called ending phonics in New York State. That is why, but we did that in New York State. That's the reason why Eric Adams had to say, we're going to teach you kids to read, because New York City decided finally to go back to phonics. What, Larry? Yes, New York City was not teaching kids to read, if not teaching phonics. Yes, that's why we're illiterate. That's the reason. That's why the wealthy put their kids in private schools. That's why I gave my daughters tutors. Yes, because they don't teach you how to read. Yes, I'm not making this up. You can look at this if you want to. So you saying, I never said abolish. Never said that. James says $20,000 would be good to start a vending. $20,000 would be good to start a vending machine business. Not for starting a business. No, 20 grand is only for schools. And that's the greatest part, because some kids won't even use it. They might go, Larry, 20 grand. No, everything I just told you, my entire plan, does not raise taxes, lowers property taxes, and we spend less per kid and we have happier kids. Yeah. It's the answer. It is the answer. Yes. All righty. All right, let me see if I do this. Shin goes on to say, teaching financial literacy is a great idea. Yep. But ideally, kids should have the ability to figure out themselves. They can't. They can't. We have to teach them this. It is impossible. It is impossible. Yes. Phil says, in Germany, they start specializing after middle school. As I'm saying, right? Once you go into high school, now you take aptitude tests to specialize. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Peter says, Larry, school choice miss by Corey Dan. I know the answers. I actually I had him on my show more than once. And when I ran in 2022, I had him as part of my team. Corey's a great guy. 100%. I agree completely. Yes. He's a great guy. Let me now move on to college if I could. College. People say, Larry, how are we going to pay for college? All right. Number one, the federal government should pay for no college. Let me repeat that. No college, none. Why? Same reason as before. When you are a student in college, you are not the customer. You're in the way. The customer is the federal government, because 90% of the school loans come through the federal government. That's why. You're in the way. They don't care about you. Not just that. Why should they give you a degree that will help you get a job? They don't have to. What reason? No. What are they required to do? Are they required to give you a good education? No. Are they required to teach you something that has any value? No. Their only requirement is, if you do as they say, they will give you a piece of paper that says you have a college degree. That's their requirement. That's what you get. That's it. If you do as they say, then they will give you a piece of paper that says you have a college degree. That's it. That's the deal. But Larry, they want to go to college. First up, yes, they will. Next, this is how you do it. It's a very simple thing that's already being done. When I was a youngster buying my first car dealers, if you went to a car dealer to buy a car, you had to go to a bank. Some of you are older know this. You have to go to the bank. You go to a bank, you tell them what car you want, what you're going to buy. They authorize you to get a loan, and you take out a loan from the bank to buy the car. You would pay the dealer with a check or cash that you got from the bank. So that the note went to the bank, right? And you paid the bank off your car loan. That's how it used to work back in the day. That's not true anymore. Now you go buy a car, you buy a Ford or a Honda. When you go to get the car, you go to the F&I guy. F&I stands for finance and insurance, finance and whatever, finance and something, right? So you go to that guy. That guy works for the finance company that's in the car dealership. So if it's Ford, there's Ford Finance Company. If it's Honda, there's Honda Finance Company. They finance their own cars. What does that mean? The car's got to work for a bit, but it has no value. So they got to work for a little bit at least. Has to. Makes sense. Simply allow colleges to finance their own degrees. That's all. Now you don't have the money. No, every college of note has massive, and I mean massive endowments. Endowments of hundreds, if not billions of dollars. Hundreds of millions, not billions of dollars. They all have endowments. All of them do. Use your endowment to create your finance company and finance them yourself. That's it. Car dealership do it. So I want to go to XYZ college, and they think I'm a good guy to go to college. They will finance me, right? So I need whatever. They charge $40,000, whatever. Great. I'll take a loan. Now, here's the issue. What if I'm a knucklehead? And what if I can't graduate? I can't get a job. Guess what happens? They can't get paid. And that's not a federal loan, to the earlier point. That can be discharged. I can just do bankruptcy and you don't get paid. Done. Discharge my loan. What does it make that college have to do by default? One, I'm the customer, so they're going to keep me happy. They got to teach me something that makes sense. Why? Because I have to get a job and pay them back. And if I don't get a job and pay them back, then they lost their money. They are now incentivized to teach me something worth a damn. They're incentivized to help me get a job, or they don't get paid. Changes the entire game. Well, some colleges won't do that. Then they'll go out of business because they're shit colleges. And most colleges are shit colleges. And they'll go out of business. Good. They suck anyway. They're simply ways of the government making more money. Let them go away and wrecking the credit of our youth. We are destroying generations of children, the kids, of young adults, by putting them in debt and hating the system. And we wonder why so many of them like communism or socialism, because this didn't work for them. They were told a lie. They were told that if they spend whatever, going to debt $100,000, whatever the number is today, that there'll be a great job for them. No, it's 6 years, not 4. It's $100,000 in debt, and now they're working as a barista at Starbucks. I'd like socialism too. You lied to me, you capitalist. Of course I think that. Yeah. Well, let's make real capitalism, which is now the schools have an incentive. You know what else will happen? Jobs, degrees that don't pay much won't be expensive. Right now, you can drop 100, 200 grand on a liberal arts degree. Why? Why? No, that degree will cost like $5 grand. I'm not joking. It costs like $5 grand. Why? Because that's all you can pay back. They'll make a degree where it's $5,000. That's it. Not just that. You'll find schools with something else. The schools will invest in the actual students. Why? You got to pay back. What will they do? So let's say you're doing a liberal arts degree. They're going to help you write a book, or they're going to help you start a website, or they're going to help you do something. Why? Because you have to pay them back. If the degree is cheap, they might want to see a cut of what you do. That's called incubators. And all the best colleges have incubators. All of the best colleges have incubators. Yes, it will encourage all of them to have incubators. Not just that. You do that, you'll also have something else happen. You will have businesses come in and actually train you at the college, which is what it's supposed to be. That's not what happens. It's supposed to happen. It won't. It doesn't happen now. How do I know? I train people. Do you see that Neo Sage book? Right? That's my job. Companies pay me to train their people. They shouldn't. I'm glad they do, but they shouldn't. College should be doing that. But not only will colleges do that, also those 2-year schools do that. Can you imagine if you had, say, I don't know, I'm making this up for New York State, Corning, and it needs workers to work in their one of their factories? Well, why wouldn't you create a trade school? You get paid $20,000 from the government to get a trade school. So they have a trade school. So now the kids go there from 16, 17, 18. They go there. They learn. Job in Corning waiting for them. They're training them how to do Corning stuff. Waiting for them. They were doing college too. They would go to the college and go, hey, wait a minute. You can't afford this? I tell you, we'll do it. Let's do it. We'll bring our people and teach. Yes, they have to. They would have to make that. There's no reason for a college to do that now. Why? There's no reason for a college to care about whether they give you anything of any value whatsoever. There's no incentive. That's why they don't. That's why they don't. So simply allow colleges to become their own finance companies, and that deals with the entire issue. Some colleges will go under. They suck anyway. Others will not. They'll change and shift. And now, of course, if you do go bankrupt, you can discharge your debt, which is awesome, as you should. Any other bankruptcies should be the same, of course. And it's in the college's best interest to get you out early. Why would they want you in for 6 years? They wait for the money now. They don't want you in for 6 years. They want you for 3, 4. Get out and get our money back. Encourage them to get you a job. Teach you real things. The incentives are now aligned. That's how you fix college, and that's how you fix K through 12. I've been talking about this for 7 years. It's not new. I've told this story 1,000 times. Some of you know me, have heard this story before. It's the right answer. It's been true then. It's true now. I am hoping very much that this DOE thing goes through and we can implement things like this. All right, I'm grab some more of this if I can. All righty here. Dave's talking about tuition. I was saving Lutheran school, grades 8 through 11, $4,500. Yeah. Academy of Mount Ursa in the Bronx, all girls, $6,000. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Most of the average schools that the average New Yorker would go to is in this area. I know Cardinal. Yep. $7,000. That's the norm. That's why I said a credit of $6,000. Most schools will be around $6,000 for that credit. But if you're wealthier, you'll pay some more, right? You'll get $6,000, but you'll pay some more. And I said that's why it's skewed, because in New York City, David, you know, there are some private schools. They're $60,000 a year. Those are the very super wealthy people. They're and this is like not college. This is like middle school. This is like high school. $60,000 a year. So that number's skewed, which is why I know 18 is fine, right? 21 is the average. Yeah, but yeah, you get my point. You get my point. I'm sure you do. So yes. Grace says, I started working at 13, babysitting and built up a business by the time I was 15. Still cheered and wasn't in high school plays. Was my idea. Spent money on what I wanted. What's wrong with that? I love it, Grace. Most people who are my age or older worked as a teenager and died and that stuff. It's not a thing, right? It's just not a thing. Yes. So anyway, I think you're correct. Super weapons. Having teens and preteens start working helps to give them some level of responsibility. Yes. Gets them off the streets. Yes. Into more severe levels of degeneracy that all youth happen. Yes. It just helped tremendously. 100%. Yes. All righty. Greg says, in my neighborhood in Chicagoland, 75% of property tax goes to school district. Wow. Yeah. In New York State, some are higher than 50, but it averages 50. Some are higher, some are lower, but it's around 50 in New York State. generally speaking, you're going to be somewhere between 55 and 45% of your taxes is going to be school taxes in that area. There's some differences, obviously, but that's about where it is. So, yes. All righty. Jackie says, those property taxes that go towards paying for school, how much of it goes to teacher salaries, equipment, and books, and how much goes, if any, towards private profit? That I know of, none. That I know of. Now, hold on. I gotta be clear about this. Private profit. Okay. How do we define that? That I know of, private schools aren't getting any of that money, right? Unless there's something I don't know about. They're not getting that money. That money is going only to the schools. Now, where's the private profit go to? It goes to when the school districts pay their friends their contract work. And that happens always. Our school district also, by the way, as I mentioned, in New York State, how it works, and a lot of states do this. If they don't spend the money, Jackie, they lose it. I know, how insanely stupid is that, but that's what they do. So now it's the end of the year. I've got an extra 20 grand. What am I going to do? And you wonder why some schools like fill up a room with extra paper. Their paper guy says, I got extra paper. I can give a bunch of paper for 20 grand. Okay, good. Here's 20 grand. Give me a little paper. They fill the room up with paper. That's the thing. Otherwise, they lose the money and they lose it for the next year's budget. With my plan, you get $18,000 per kid per school period. What you get. If you don't spend it, I have an idea. Save it. Build a football field, a new football field, when you and your students and your parents believe you need to buy a new football field. Do it then. Don't do it because I have extra money or my friends' cronies, my cronies have a construction company. I'm going to get paid. That's how private profit happens from those deals that people do to get money from school districts. That's how that works. But again, if you just get your money, do it when you buy the paper when you need the paper, not because I'm running out of stuff. So yes, hope that makes sense. So, all right. Let's see here. Dave goes on to say K through 10. Correct. Last 2 years are college prep, trade school, specialty prep. Correct. That's the whole piece. K through 10, not K through 12. 100%. Yes. All righty. Shelly says, I learned at a young age, if you can get certified to anything for free or close to, do it. Well, I like that. There we go. I like that. That's awesome. User has been banned, says, have them give the money. Having them give the money drove the price. Yes, correct. Thank you. The fact that the government gives you all the money means the price can go up. What's the incentive to keep it down? There's no incentive to lower the pricings. So they don't. Not just that, all the schools have tons of administrators also. The colleges do. Why? To keep the federal government happy. And they get more grants from the federal government. When all the grants go away, right? Department of Education, no government grants, none. But Larry, then how will these schools, how will they be able to do this great work? The private sector will give them money to do so. Duh. About half it's through private sector anyway. People don't know that. About half is through private sector and donors who want it done anyway. This goes back to Nate's original plan. This is the original idea. Just because I don't want government doing it doesn't mean I don't want it done. Are you telling me humans don't want cancer to be solved? Of course they do. But they're waiting on government to do it. That's the problem. They're waiting on government. Well, government's not doing it now. It's been failing anyway. But why would government do it? There's no need to do it. I would make a pill. It'd be fine. Yes. So anyway, 100%, if I can just keep going down that road. All righty. Shin says, colleges clearly have incentives to have their students be prepared for work. No, they don't. That you've made that up. There's no evidence of that at all. If they don't, their ranking, reputation, whatever. No, they won't at all. That's absolutely not true. In fact, they're increasing vocation. That's utterly untrue. I don't know where you came up with that. That's absolutely not true. Demonstrably false. Demonstrably false. Absolutely not true. Not true. Shin says, what do you see the purpose of college? It means of a job only. No, but again, I'll give you an example of this. If I want to learn something, I have a choice. I can go online and learn if I want to, use AI, as P said, or I can go to college if I want to. No worries. But if that is not going to get me a good job, it shouldn't cost me $100,000, right? If I want an experience, and that's what I want, and that's fine. I don't have a problem if you want an experience of college. It shouldn't cost me $100,000. How about it cost me 20? I can probably pay that back. Sure. And that will happen naturally, right? Right now, you're going to get an experience and you get $100,000 or $200,000 and you pay for it. And then when COVID hit, you still had to pay the same amount. You didn't even go to college. So no, college is whatever you think it should be for. Like anything else, like going on vacation if you want to, up to you. But the point is, the college has to finance it, or you just pay for it. So if you're wealthy and you want to go to college to get a degree in whatever literature because you enjoy literature, you want to be around people who do that, awesome. The degree might cost you 10 grand, maybe 20. You get a degree in literature, and if you're wealthy, you pay for it. And if you're not wealthy, maybe you borrow money for it to get your degree in literature. You enjoy it. Life is good. Like paying for an expensive vacation that costs $10,000, $20,000, a very expensive vacation. You decide to pay for it. Up to you. No worries, right? And if it's cheap enough and your credit's good enough, then the college would still finance you. The college would still finance you if you say you've got a job and you could pay off the loan in X number of years and you want to get a degree in literature. Go. What's wrong with that? You're acting like somehow that the government's stopping you. Your mindset is in not freedom. Your mindset is in the rules tell you this, that. That's the rules. Do as you like. It will happen on its own. How do I know that? That's what college used to be. And it can still be that. To your point of colleges having incentive for the students to be prepared for work, there is zero evidence of that. Ask anyone who's hiring, and they will tell you college students don't know anything. Nothing. Why do I have a job? If you were right, I shouldn't be able to make any money. I literally train college educated people. That's my job. I train college educated people because they weren't trained in college. I pay my bills somehow. So no evidence of that at all. So yes. Andrea says, I learned more geometry by working at the fabric store, thinking about figuring out how much fabric for curtains and quilts, practical geometry. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So Shin says, liberal arts degrees are actually more valuable in the dynamic economy, but not worth $100,000. But not worth $100,000. That's the key. The problem is, is it worth going into so much debt that I literally can't take a job or can't buy a house or can't move? No, it's not. That's the issue. I'm not saying that you can't have value in a degree like that. Of course you can, but not for $100,000. And it should not cost that much. That's the problem. My problem is the amount of debt you go in for it. It is simply not worth it at all. So, all right. And then grab a couple more of these here. Grab some more. While you guys going back for a lot, I appreciate that. Jackie says, university is really expensive in the UK for working class people because they have to get into debt. Yep. But it's really cheap for those rich parents who send their kids to private school. Yes. Yes. If you notice, people somehow think that because I want to do this, that I somehow want to, screw the poor over or something like that. The opposite is true. The current system screws over the poor and the middle class. The current system screws over the poor and middle class. I'm saying, let's get what the wealthy get. And I'm the bad guy? I'm saying, let's get what the wealthy get. You see what they're doing. Why don't we copy that? That's not a bad idea. James says, speaking of socialism, I actually have heard some leftists say that communism and socialism are actually conservative. The old left supports the family unit, controlling migration, free speech, etc. There's been some shifts, but I'm not sure I want to go there. But there have been shifts. I think that's true. There have been shifts. That's absolutely true. Yes. So I'm sorry, Ryan, I missed this one. $2 for the super chat. Thank you so much. Scholar athletes is something that they made up. Yes, thank you. Scholar athletes. Exactly. They made it up to get money. It's cash. Why? This is terrible. And this is how it actually works. People are like, this is a good idea. We have to make sure that these athletes that you get good grades. Why? Why? Well, so they can fall back in a degree. So they can be a barista? Shut up. You're a football player. You're an athlete. Be an athlete. I don't care if you get good grades. That's insanely stupid. If you want to get good grades, please go ahead. If you want to be well-rounded, like Shin wants, clearly Shin thinks being well-rounded is important. I'm not saying she's wrong. Why is it required? If you want to be well-rounded, please. If you want to be a scholar athlete, please be one. I'm not against it. But why is that the rule? The idea of it being forced and being, it's the libertarian in me that it will never go away. Be who you want to be. If you want to be a scholar athlete, more power to you, brother. Show us all how awesome you are. I love it. But why is it required? Right? Your goal, if you go to a school like that, is to get drafted by, the NFL or some college so that you can, play in an NFL or something or whatever. That's the goal. So go for your goal. But then they won't have a college degree. Nobody gives a shit anyway. Who cares? Nobody cares. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. So I agree. I'm not against people being well-rounded. I'm not against any of those things. All I'm saying is, why is it the rule? That's my only issue. Marshall says, let there be dumb athletes. Yes, it's okay. Not everyone has to be brilliant. Nobody wants to be brilliant. It's fine. And if they want to, they can always go to school later and they can fix it. It's fine if they want to. Say some guy thinks that he needs to, he's going to be a star soccer player. Okay, great. You go to a specialized school for soccer players and you realize, wow, you suck compared to these guys, or you don't like it or whatever. Great. Change the school and go to a different one. I'm not a soccer guy. I want to be a doctor. Go be a doctor. You want to go to sports medicine maybe because of that. Now you've got a plan. Now you have a plan. Now you should go to college because you have a plan. Yes, that's the goal. Now you have happy kids with purpose. Happy kids with purpose. That piece matters tremendously. All right, I do want to ask him if you don't mind. I haven't asked recently, so I got to ask again if I could. I would like you guys to please click the button known as like. It does matter. Guy who loves that is a guy named Al. His middle name is Gore. His last name is Rhythm. He does love it. If you do this, he will show this to more people and more people will like it and this will grow. So please click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. If you don't do it, you hate the children. And you think all athletes are dumb. That's you. That's how bad person. You're a bad person is what you are if you don't click like. You're a bad person. Don't be a bad person. Instead, also share and repost it. If you haven't reposted this into something else, put it into a Facebook group, put it on X, whatever. Put it someplace else. Put it on something else. Are you like on like Gab or Parler? Put it on that. Put it on whatever else you're on. You on MeWe or something? Go. Put it on that if you want to. Also, please subscribe on YouTube and click all notifications when you subscribe. You say to yourself, Larry, I have subscribed before. Check it. YouTube decides sometimes that you are a bot for whatever reason and then decides to unsubscribe you. So please subscribe if you would. Also follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. If you haven't followed me on all three of those, you also hate the children. There's a lot of children haters today. That's it. Absolutely. Not just that. I love the super chats. Please super chat me on YouTube or rant me on Rumble. Every little bit counts. Please do that. It does help tremendously. And membership. I bug you every single show. A membership. We need more members. We need more members. Please, if you can. $29 per month. Here's the rule. Here's the rule. Very often, Garrett will give us free membership. Thank you, Garrett, for that. Remember your rule. If you make $10 million this week, you can't take his freebie, which means you got to pay the $4.99. $4.99 per month. It keeps this show going. I can spend more time doing this. I don't have to be late at like 8 o'clock again. Do that again. Also on Rumble, click subscribe during the live, and everything becomes a little bit better. Let me grab a couple more comments if I could. All righty. Dao says, university educations hone critical thinking skills, which are essential to well-informed citizens. Not true. I wish it were true. They are supposed to do that. That was their goal. They do not do that. But if they had to actually pay their own way, they probably would. Remember, when you go to school, you are not, unless you pay yourself, you are not the customer. You don't matter. You are in the way. The customer is the federal government. If you're the customer, that's true. And people used to be the customer, which is when that was true. That is no longer true because of that. So yes. Katie John says, just read this. U.S. students' cognitive abilities as measured by IQ scores and academic achievements were at the highest in the 60s. It has steadily decreased since then. A whole nother show for you. Yes, and the American IQ has actually gone down. Average IQ has gone down. It used to be around 100, like 102. Now it's like 98. It's gone down. So Dao, you were incorrect. More and more of us are college educated than ever, and our IQ has gone down. Just being very forward. More and more of us are going to college by percentage, and our IQ average has gone down. So yeah. Again, as I said, Shin says there's no evidence for what Shin said. Dal, there's no evidence what you said. You got to show me some evidence. There's no evidence of what you said about college. No evidence what Shin said about. There's no evidence of that. The evidence is the opposite. It's the opposite. Phil says, but Larry, I care about children. Then I know you've already clicked the like button then I know you have clicked it. Grace says, there are a lot of well-run baristas. True. You're not wrong, Grace. I've known many of them. I live in New York City. I know lots. It's the amount of baristas who I can literally ask, and I've done this before. Like I'll be at a Starbucks or like a Gregory's or whatever it's the chain of there, whatever it is. And we'll start talking and I'll be asking, do you go to college? I'm like, yeah, what's your degree in? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all the time. Some of them are proud. I got 2 masters. Yes. 2 masters. And they're a barista. Very well-rounded. Very well-rounded. And I'm not mad at them for it. They got fooled. Mike says, Larry, how many people use algebra or Aristotle's higher forms in daily works as conversation? Not even my college grad friends, PhDs, do that. The same? Yeah, no one does. My youngest daughter is in high school. And she was asking me, she's like, Dad, should I take advanced this and that, advanced that? I said, why? Well, some of my friends think that they'll look good in the college application. I said, what? Well, so why do you care? What do you mean? I said, why do you care? Are you going to be in math? No, I don't like math. Then why the hell would you take advanced math? Well, I said, the computer's going to do all your math for you. No basic math. Take the basic math at the beginning you got to take so that you know how basic math, you're not an idiot, you know math, and move on. Unless you're going into a field that requires math. You're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a programmer, whatever. You're going into a field that requires math, please take all the high math, of course. Science, whatever. My daughter's not doing that. She hates that stuff. Okay. And she's like, oh. But my counselor said, your counselor has no idea what he's talking about. Most of them don't. I don't mean to be mean, but most of them have no clue. They're just pushing the same garbage from years ago. No. You're totally right, Mike. Who cares? Mike, you're in the Marine Corps like me. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was a surveyor at one point. I was also a fighter arrest controlman for artillery. I was a forward observer. Trigonometry mattered for me. I'm not joking. What? Yes. The curvature of the earth and trigonometry where that round is coming in. If I'm a forward observer, if I'm a fighter arrest controlman, if I'm a surveyor, all those things matter. You know where I learned my trigonometry? In the Marine Corps. And I go, wait a minute, you learned trigonometry? Yes. They taught me trigonometry. I mean, I knew a bunch of it from high school, but didn't matter. I learned trigonometry in the Marine Corps. Why? Because it mattered for my job. Well, weren't there computers? There were some computers in the Marine Corps. There were. It was the 80s, so it wasn't as many. But there were some. We had some computers. We did have some, but it didn't matter. We had to be able to function with no electricity. So literally, we would have trigonometry books and slide rules. I'm not joking. And if you were a fighter arrest controlman, if you were a surveyor, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We had logistics books, slide rules, so that we could bomb you when there's no electricity. We could bomb you after an EMP. Marine Corps is about bombing. You getting bombed. Does not matter whether there's electricity or not, you're getting bombed. If I can use a red flashlight and my trigonometry book and a slide rule, I'm still bombing you. Learned that in Marine Corps. Didn't need to learn it in high school. I mean, some of it in high school, but I forgot half of it. I mean, whatever it was, I don't remember. Who cares about trigonometry? Unless you need it in your job, in which case you learn it. So, yes. There we go. Anyway, let's see if I can go down here a couple more of these if I could. Alrighty. Ryan says, Larry, you were DNS, drafting and surveying. I was word. There we go. Yes. Yeah. Grace says snipers needed math. Yes. Yes. And then why Liberty says, I have my dad's slide rule from his Air Force days. Yes. Right? You learn this stuff. You have to. Absolutely. You have to. 100%. Guys, I am going to be on tomorrow, but at a weird time. I'm not sure when. I'm going to be on, if you guys are happening on X, I'm going to be co-hosting an X space tomorrow at 8 p.m. on X. So if you want to pop on X, you will see it. The person who will be doing it is Lauren Lee. She is Lauren Lee on X, 8 p.m., talking about, is the Democratic Party worth saving? Mike, I didn't ask you, because I know you're already saying stuff already. I didn't ask you, but they're asking me. So I'll be having that conversation. If you want to, tomorrow, 8 p.m. on X, she is Lauren Lee. She will have an X space. I'll be co-hosting 8 p.m. I'll probably come on earlier or later. I'm not sure which one. We'll see what I'm going to do. I will let you guys know when I know. Depends how I have to work tomorrow. We will figure something out if we can, in any case. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for this evening. I appreciate you giving me all the time that you did. If you could, after this is over, if you could put down in the description, if you could put down a time when you used anything from high school in your adult life. A time when you used anything from high school in your adult life. I will see you all very soon.